for the judgment, and then you're still not immortal. You're resurrected, but you're in your regular body, and then you end up being thrown into the lake of fire, where you die and you never live again. So it's not torment, it's not eternal torment, and it doesn't make sense. It makes God look like...
It's hard to enter the kingdom.
What's that?
It's hard to enter the kingdom.
Hard to what?
To enter the kingdom.
To enter the
It's
kingdom.
impossible without Jesus Christ. So it's when you just trust God, you trust His Word, and you give Him your heart, then you can't lose. You can't, because you're not doing it through works. You're doing it through faith.
Ten Commandments, right? You follow
You're
the
not
10
saved by keeping the commandments.
Oh.
You're only lost by rejecting the 10 commandments. If you reject them, say, I'm going to do whatever I want, and I'm not going to repent for doing it, then you're lost. You're not trusting God. If you love God, you trust Him, because He loves you. He loves you, beyond measure, beyond our understanding. He loves us.
But before Seventh Adventist is teaching about the 10 Commandments.
It's important to you're supposed to love the 10 Commandments, but you can't love the 10 Commandments on your own. God has to put that in your heart. And so it starts with just saying, okay, God, you may not want to do this, but you say, okay, God, I trust you. I'm putting this in your hands. I'm giving you my heart. I'm giving you my life. Please transform me. And when you really do that, at the point that you're really giving Him your heart, then your heart changes. Before, when I had given God my heart wanted to do, lust, and I didn't want to follow it. But when I realized how much He loved me, and I said, okay, God, my heart is yours, then He changed me, and then I want to do that. And so that's how I know I'm saved, is because I love the law. I love everything about it. It's beautiful. The law is simply two things. Love God with all your heart, and love everyone else too.
Yes.
That's all that it is.
First commandment.
That's not replacing anything. Like the evangelicals will teach you that, oh no, God took out the 10 commandments and He just gave 2 commandments. We just have to love God and love Him. No, it is the 10 commandments. If you love God, you don't have other gods.
It is not important.
If you love God, you don't worship idols.
Yeah.
If you love God, you don't use His name in vain,
Yeah.
and you keep His day holy. His day. And if you love your neighbor, you don't commit adultery, you don't steal, you honor your father and your mother. You do all those things because you want to. You want to do it.
Yeah, we need 10 Commandments.
So when somebody comes to me and says, oh, that's the Old Testament, we don't have to do that anymore, well, that tells me one thing. They don't actually trust God and they don't love Him.
If you have love, you follow the command of God.
But you're going to want to. You're going to want to because you trust God. You love Him. You have a relationship with Him. But it takes trusting. And I think, it's just a real obvious test of whether you love God. And you can't love God because you decide to love God. You love God because you surrender to Him and He changes you.
The very important person love God.
That's where it starts. The whole issue is about love. And it's part of the issue is free will. When you read Ellen White's book, The Great Controversy, it's the only book I know of that really explains, unless it's a book written about the Great Controversy, that really explains why we have to have free choice. Because what is love? Is it a feeling? Is it an emotion?
Emotion. If you love,
It's not.
it's not
No.
feeling.
Tell me, you have children, and when you always love them, right?
Yeah.
There's never a time you didn't love your children. But when they make a mess in the house and don't clean it up, what do you feel?
Feeling. I feel
Angry.
hungry.
Yeah, and do you love them at that time?
Oh, of course.
Of course. So love is You, I choose to love you, and I do something about it. You know, if I love you and I see that
Love
you're
is
in trouble,
very,
I
love
try
is
to help you.
very powerful. If you have
Yeah,
love.
but it requires choice, and so that's the thing is God gave all the angels choices. He gave all the human beings choices, and because of that, we can choose to trust God and to love Him, or we can choose to follow our own self and use our own logic. Even if we're separated from God, we think that we have something valuable going on in our brains. We don't. We fail. As soon as we're separated from God, we're deceived. And but in order for love to exist, He had to give us free will, and so He protects that free will above all things. He allowed Lucifer, who He made the greatest angel, had the most abilities, the most beautiful, and Lucifer decided to love himself, and it doesn't work. He's going to end up destroyed in the end, and so many people are affected by it and choose to follow him. When we choose to use our own logic, we're following Lucifer, we're not following God. And God's when we go, okay, God, my one choice is that I'm going to exercise is to trust you and follow you.
Especially if you have, if you don't have money.
Oh yeah.
Money.
If you don't have money, you can. If you have money, then sometimes you think you have a choice. Like I can do it on my own. It's only a deception. If you don't have money, then you go, okay, God, I need to survive. I need food. I need shelter. And I'm trusting you.
I have this struggle before when my husband left. I feel lost very much. I feel
stressful.
I feel what do you call that? No more. What do you call this?
No faith. You lost your faith.
I feel God is not in my heart. I feel God is.
Well, you turned your back on God.
Because.
Did you always do what you knew God wanted you to do?
What?
Did you always make your choices and put them in God's hands?
In my feeling,
Mind.
in my
I mean, nobody does. Nobody always makes the right choices. People that are mostly faithful to God still sometimes do something else. They don't follow God sometimes. We all do those things. But the thing is we have to decide that we're going to always follow God. And then let God lead us.
That's why
and it's hard because our logic says, well, but this. And God knows how it's going to work out for you. And He says, no, I don't want you to do that. I want you to follow me. I've got a better plan for you. But you go, no, God, I think I figured it out. I'm going to do it my way. That's what Lucifer did.
Yeah.
And so the only safe choice is to not make the choice of using your own logic.
I don't find the Church of Seventh-day Adventists when I have struggle. I pray with the Lord, give me the church to go to pray. Then the Lord give me the sign that is a born again church. That is near of my house.
But do they follow the Bible?
I don't read the Bible in the time.
Are they following the Bible? Do they do what God? Are they following God?
Because my mind is very distracted. You have many problems, especially.
they twist it to mean something else.
You eat anything.
They believe in eternal torment of the wicked. They believe that you can make up your own day for worship.
Yeah, the
But
difference is
that's not trusting God.
no. The difference is the Sunday.
What?
They keep Sunday.
Yeah, but Sunday's not God's holy day.
That is the difference, but the gospel is the same. So,
They try to make it sound like that, and if you believe it, you've been deceived by them. Just look. Just look. What did God do? And on the seventh day, this is Genesis 2, verse 2. And on the seventh day, God ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from his work which he had made. And God blessed the seventh day.
but in the Bible,
Which is Saturday.
No, just listen. And God sanctified it because that in it he had rested from all his work which he had created and made. This is the Sabbath.
the Sabbath and the Sunday is always fighting.
But no, the Bible is the standard. The Bible says that there's only one holy day.
I know.
The rest of the days are days for work, right? And so they say that Jesus rose on the Sunday, so therefore it's a blessed day. But the Bible doesn't say that it's it's not a holy day. Jesus actually rested on Sabbath. He died on a Friday, he rested on Sabbath, and then he resurrected and resumed his ministry on Sunday. And they also tell you that the early church kept the Sunday, but they didn't.
But the born again is telling me that you.
I know, but they're wrong.
Just follow the Bible.
Yeah.
Just follow the Bible. They twist it, and here's
also in the Bible.
here's what the Bible says about
Did
doing that.
you did not enter the kingdom of God
You don't.
if you don't born again. You born again.
Oh, we're born again too.
You born again.
When you're baptized,
When you go back to
when you're baptized, that's symbolic of dying to the world and being born again of the kingdom. And it's actually not born again. It means born from above. When you look at the Bible, when it talks about being born again, it says from above. So you're born into the kingdom. You're not born a second time. You can't be born a second time. You're just born into the kingdom, like a new person. Let's see.
You should follow the Bible too, because Sabbath means Sabado, Saturday.
They always fight, you know. I'm always.
But that's the issue. That's the mark of the beast. Is trusting your own wisdom or trusting man's wisdom over God's wisdom. That's what the mark of the beast
You
is.
follow the rules of your.
And if you're doing that when the mark of the beast hasn't happened yet, it will be a time when you make a choice to either follow God or follow your own logic, or follow, which is actually, that logic didn't come from God, it came from Lucifer. And so you're choosing to follow something other than God. That's what the mark of the beast is.
Mark of the beast, the 666.
No, the mark, that's the number of the number of a man's name. That's not the mark of the beast. The man is the Pope. Okay? But the mark of the beast is choosing to follow God. The seal of God is choosing to follow God. The opposite of that is choosing to follow anything other than God. The other thing is, of course they're going to disobey God. So that's the mark of the beast. They look like Christians, but they don't trust God. If they trusted God, they would follow His commandments.
You look like an angel, but deep
So
inside,
it's a deception.
deception te. Pagluloko lang ba?
The born-again church sounds like they're Christians, but they still reject God's word. He said his law would not pass away. And it says that the Sabbath will be kept in heaven. Isaiah 66. You want to see that one?
Oh, they follow the other rules, but deep inside they're not.
It's a counterfeit. They make it look like they're following God, but they're not.
Kung sa totoo lang nakakalito. Nakakalito talaga.
Is it 66:13?
Nakalagay naman kasi walang religion na nakakapag... There is no religion to save you.
Your soul.
Religion doesn't save you. Trust in God saves you.
Yeah.
Faith in God.
The relationship.
Faith and trust are the same thing. And if you don't trust His Word, if you don't trust Him enough to keep the commandments, then you don't trust Him. That's all there is to it. So you have to decide whether you're going to trust God or not. That's the first step.
Trust first and follow the rules. No other day is holy, is only Saturday.
Yung pa, diba?
Ikaw, te.
Maubito ni manigi kaso
Diba, at first, diba, nangita ba katong Seventh Adventist? Nya wala jog itong
Huwag mo ko kita. Ako pag nang i-google.
naman na dito sa kwan.
I-google ba na ako ng Seventh-day Adventist? Gita nung pinagtanong ko kay Ross Marlin. Asan dito sa Paranaque ang Seventh-day Adventist Church.
66:23. I was trying to make it 66:13. This is Isaiah 66:23. And it shall come to pass that when from one new moon to another, and from one Sabbath to another, all flesh will come to worship before me, saith the Lord. Let me read this verse before it. For as the new heavens and the new earth which I will make shall remain before me, saith the Lord, so shall your seed and your name remain. And it shall come to pass that from one new moon to another and one Sabbath to another, all flesh come to worship before me. So the only flesh existing when there's a new heaven and new earth are the righteous, those that are in Christ.
Yung nagsusunod lang.
When Jesus comes,
Is the righteous.
when Jesus, those who are in Christ, and to be in Christ, you have to trust Him.
But are you sure all of the Seventh-day Adventists is in the right
No,
It's in the right place.
absolutely not.
Uh-huh.
There's plenty of tares mixed in with the wheat. Not everyone that says they're a Seventh-day Adventist, not everyone that says they're a Christian are.
They're saying...
So don't ever just look at Seventh-day Adventists to decide
Yeah.
whether you should be a Seventh-day Adventist. Look at the Bible, look at the doctrine, read the 28 fundamental beliefs. Have you ever read those and studied them against the Bible?
Yeah, I read the Bible if you have a relationship. The relationship with God. That is the...
But it's not just, it's a relationship where you trust Him. And if you trust Him, you follow Him.
Even if you're washing your clothes.
The first thing you follow Him, you love God.
Yeah, and if you love God, what do? The first 4 commandments.
Obey the commands.
Yeah, all of them.
But it's hard to obey all of them.
Well, it is if you're not actually trusting Him and if you're not surrendered to Him. That's the difference. It's if you really trust God and you really surrender to Him, then keeping the commandments isn't hard. First of all,
Actually, it's not hard.
So let me just explain.
If you love God.
If you love God, and He says keep the Sabbath, and all of a sudden you go to your employer and they said, I want you to work Saturday. I'm so sorry I can't. Well, then you can't be my employee anymore, you're fired. What do? Okay, God, I just lost my job for keeping the Sabbath. But what does that mean? Well,
It's
what's next, God? And then you find out He's done something that's better than your previous situation. He doesn't, but if you're afraid, well, if I don't have my job, then I won't have any money and then I'll starve. That's not trusting God. Trusting God is, okay, God, I'm going to follow you even if the choice looks like it's going to be, like maybe I'm risking something, maybe I'm going to lose something. But if you trust Him, you find out that He was right all along and He takes care of you. That's trusting Him. Sometimes I've done it. I've quit jobs because they wanted me to work Sabbath.
Yeah, very important.
Remember, I was working for the one big company in Alaska, and I worked there 17 years. And then one day they said, okay, you're going to have to work Sabbath. And I said no, and I resigned.
Okay, follow.
What happened? They quit?
I resigned.
Oh.
Well, they told me, I mean, I knew that if I didn't show up for work, that they would fire me. And so I just said, oh, well, I'm going to resign. Before that time, I always had Saturday off. Always. Before I hired on with that company, I told them I'm a Seventh-day Adventist. I don't work Saturdays. Is that going to be a problem? They said, we'll make it work. And then many years went by, 17 years went by, and they forgot all about that. And some of the management changed. And then they said, okay, we're going to change the schedule. They changed the schedule a lot, and I could no longer get Saturdays off because it was based on a seniority bid.
God is...
Anyway, but I'm fine. God's taken care of us.
God is...
God has find the right time.
So yeah, there's a lot of Adventists that won't be in heaven because they're not really Adventists, because they're not really even trusting God. And Satan takes people that follow him and they put him in the church to discourage you. As you look at that person and go, man, they treated me badly and they did that. And what we have to learn is that we're not supposed to watch the people. We're all sinners. We've all fallen short of God's glory. You know? And we're all, you know, we all have evil tendencies. Every human being does. And so if you watch people to make your decision on what denomination there should be, Satan's going to put those people right in front of you. But what we have to do is ignore the people and just look at Jesus Christ. If we watch Jesus, Jesus was, you know, he was perfect. He had perfect faith, and he never sinned. And so that's the only example we should have is Jesus. You know, we shouldn't look at a pastor. We shouldn't look at a friend that's an Adventist or any denomination. We shouldn't look at them and use them as an example. We need to look at, well, does the doctrine, is it faithful to the Bible? And I'm telling you, I studied this. There is only one church in existence where the doctrine is faithful to the Bible. It's the Seventh-day Adventist Church. All other ones have doctrines that twist and they work around the truth. And they tell you, basically they tell you you can be saved in sin. You can't be saved in sin. You can be saved from sin. And we're still going to sometimes fail. We're still going to sometimes sin. We're so fallen as human beings. We're so fallen that we've got so far to go that we're still going to make mistakes. Even if our heart is right, we're going to make mistakes. So, you know, if you look at me, you're going to see me make some mistakes. You're going to see me get angry for not a good reason sometimes, you know, because I'm tired and things didn't go right, and pretty soon I say something wrong. You know, I say something that's Christian shouldn't say. But then when I realize what I've done, I said, oh God, I'm so sorry. Please change me. Please change me so I won't do that. And then he immediately forgives me for the sin because I'm repenting. And he does change us when we allow it. But if we're hanging on to our own way, then he won't change us. Because we're not really willing to. He doesn't force us. That's the thing. He doesn't force. So he waits for us to make our decision because he respects our choice.
God is always
good in every way.
Yeah, God is trustworthy. That's what faith in God is trusting.
It's trust.